Hey, YouTube. Yes, we're back. I sort of felt like I wish I could just avoid this subject altogether, and I have for a while since these people from the black sector start showing up. Uh, of course, I'm talking about the situation with this grown folks TV. Now, in the world that I live in, I respect people who respect me. People who don't respect them, I have nothing to say to them. I don't care what they think. I don't care what they feel. I don't care anything about them. My perception was when I first saw him, I saw him on one of them Jay Wilson panels, right? And I felt like the person was at least making an effort to be respectful. Respect was huge for me. That's what I thought. I thought Jay Wilson had treated him so disrespectfully that I wasn't even clear on I wasn't even clear on what he was kind of communicate, because Wilson was so rude. He kept cutting him up, the man off, diminishing every thought. I said, well, let me just leave this dude, the grown folks TV, alone. Leave him alone. As long as he respects me, I respect him, kind of thing. But he wants to come in here invading the beef sector. I've seen many attempts over the last year for him to come over here to the beef sector. He wants to invade. And I said, what? I don't care. I mean, I don't hate straight people. But I see now that he's making a point of all this homophobic rhetoric. He's making a point of all this homophobic shit. And I just got a little dose of it, and I was appalled. Mister, you're behind times. You're talking like you're in a character out of a 1970s pimp movie, right? You're slow, and you have the nerve to come on here with this damn homophobic rant, like we're gonna argue with you. I'll say this for myself: you are not welcome in the beef sector. Many people will say you ain't got no power. You can't tell nobody who's welcome over here. I would say that if you are a homophobic, you have no business in the beef sector. All this are black women, and to a smaller degree, black men. A lot of the men are content creators over here. You have no place over here. This is I was with you for a lot of your things, just because of the way people were treating you. But I see now it's not really them. It really is you. Even though they wouldn't let you talk enough for us to find out what you were, I now see what you are. You are homophobic. You are useless to us. Your opinions mean nothing, right? You want to stay in the dark ages. You don't conduct yourself like anything that I would call a Christian. It comes back to the definition of what a Christian is, right? But if you're going to be following the religion of Christianity, not the spirituality of Christianity, for me, the spiritual part is the part God has given us, the Christ, right? The religious part is a group of people who get together now who are going to cherry pick what they believe in there, basically things they're not them, something else, somebody to hate. Humans need something to make the enemy, right? You over there talking about can gay people speak in schools? Child, we had that argument back in the 70s, girl. And California, yes, I don't know what goes on the rest of the country. We won. Briggs Initiative, I believe it was called. I was not necessarily paying attention to politics at that time, but there was a woman called Anita Bryan, and she has the same views as you. We got to save the children. Girl, raise your children is my point, right? Now, I am gay, but I'm also a black man, and I'm a black man who spent a whole lot of time in prison, in and out, in and out, in and out, a whole lot of time on the streets. And I would say to you that the black male has got a lot more issues than this damn 10% of people who happen to be homosexual. It just don't make no sense. When you are homophobic, I'll say this to you, directly to you, Mr. Do you prefer grown folks TV or you have another name? You are what are you, ZX or something? Whatever your name is. I'll say this to you. It has been my experience that people who are obsessed with homosexuality have got homosexuality issues within themselves. Most men, secure men, secure in who they are, do not care. They just don't care. You, at your channel, you would think you were on a gay channel because all people do is they go over there and call you a woman. They talk about in your clothes. They show pictures of you spreading your legs open and all this kind of stuff, right? And a whole lot of your conversation is about the gay men. How the hell are you going to invade the gay men's platform? Perhaps there are fewer men than women over here, but there are a whole lot of gay content creators over here, right? We ain't having those kind of arguments, nigga. I'm just telling you the truth. You want to stay in the dark ages and you want to pretend like you give a fuck about the Bible? Go ahead and pretend. But that is not a welcome conversation. It's called hate speech. And this will be your demise because what you're promoting is, I have a right to come over there and hate people. Well, why you bring your ass over here to hate people? Aren't there other sectors on YouTube? Can't you go over there with the men? Because the men seem to be pretty convinced that you are homosexual your own goddamn self, right? Why aren't you over there with the men that are doing the sports and the Tommy Sotomayor and all them people over there who have their particular brands of hatred? Why don't you have your ass over there? No, you want to bring your ass over here with the gays and you want to make the gays the enemy. Does that make sense? The issue is dead. Can't you see that in the last few years they have made gay marriage legal? Not just here in California, not just here in the United States, but all over the world. We were one of the last ones to go, right? They started realizing that, listen, we can't go on through life talking about I don't agree with something that's in nature. It is nature. If you're going to sit up here and have this stupid ass argument, girl, about what the word said, what. Okay, let me ask you this question. If you remove the Bible, let's just say just for a moment, there is no Bible. Is there still a God? Is there still a creator of heaven and earth? Right? If there is a God, a creator, I don't just believe that the amoeba crawled out the ocean and said, I need an arm, so I just grew me an arm. Oh, this arm won't work good. I mean, grow me another one. I got two. The amoeba is thinking all this shit, right? There is no design. Is that what you're saying? Because if you believe in God, then you have to recognize what is in God's creation. Homosexuality, it is natural. How do I know it's natural? Because I think at 63 years old, I should have had, if it was natural to be heterosexual, I should have had some desire to touch a titty by now. Right? I mean, if it's so natural that everybody's the exact same, shouldn't I have some desire? You said it's a choice. Oh, you made a choice to be a homosexual. Girl, you are struggling in your own sexuality. That has been my experience. What psychiatrists have discovered, that many of the people in high school who picked on people or bullied people about homosexuality, guess what? I'll let you guess. As it turns out, these were latent homosexuals themselves. These were people struggling with their own sexual identity, right? Now, they may say, I am heterosexual, right? But when you are continually talking about homosexual sex, you're talking about assholes and balls and dicks and all this shit. That is your primary conversation. I would say that is an issue for you. You need to work out your issue in your personal life. That is not something that is welcome over here, right? Now, you gather my thoughts. Many times, kids, as they're growing up, they'll start to discover their own bodies, right? And they will have done something in their childhood, right? And has made them question their own sexuality. Why? Because they did something, or they had some experience, or they just thought about something when they were children, right? They're not even realizing that's just part of your nature. Somehow you're gonna figure out who you are. But you don't just born with that knowledge, right? So a lot of times When people have done something in their youth, had thoughts in their youth, were confused in their youth, they fight the rest of their life against that feeling. You understand what I'm saying to you? They'll fight against that all of their life. Why does this issue keep, and why you got your legs up and shit in tights? Right? Why does every time you argue with a straight man, it always comes back to them accusing you of your sexuality? I mean, why do they even think of that, girl? Man, or whatever you want to be called. You're a disrespectful person there, ZX. So I can no longer just I never did stand up for you. I never did come against you. I never spoke on some of your rhetoric. Actually, I never even heard any of your rhetoric. I went over there for the purposes of this video to see what the hell you were talking about, right? And for a man, a worldly man to be sitting up here cherry picking out one or two passages out of the Bible is sickening to me. It is so goddamn done. We got to move forward. God designed us to move forward, honey. Pay attention to nature. How long can you deny that some people are homosexual? How long will you say, oh, that's just a choice? Oh, they chose to be a homosexual. No, you made the choice. You feel like you made a choice to be a heterosexual. That's what you feel like, right? Because you were confused as a child, probably raised by a single mother, didn't have any men around to really help you, to guide you into your manhood. So you were always confused, girl. It is not that unusual a thing, right? But instead of buying ridiculous outfits and sunglasses and shit and watches and all that kind of shit, spend some time with a therapist and somebody who you can be honest with and walk you through what is my issue. Why am I a homophobic? Why is this issue important to me? Do I actually believe that I'm going to change somebody's mind? After 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 years, I think that if we had the power to change somebody's mind, it would have happened by now. You deny nature, you deny God. Many people have come forward to say, yes, I was that bully in school. I was that bully. I was a homosexual myself. I hated myself. And I took it out on other people. It is the truth. I'm sorry. You go look at the psych information if you want to. Read up on it, honey. Read up on it if it means that much to you. But it don't mean shit to me. I don't think you have any place over here anymore. I think you've lost your place in the beef sector. You take that bullshit somewhere else. Go over there and box with men. That's what I would say. Why you got your ass over here? We're trying to have a simple conversation with girl and Miss Thang and her and she. That's it. Those are the pronouns, bitch. Take your ass over there with the men. And I want to see how the men treat you. Because really, as a man, even though your voice is loud, you ain't all that manly. You just aren't. So you've got deep issues. For you to be in your 50s now and still struggling with the same shit you were supposed to struggle with when you're 15, 16, 17 years old. You're supposed to figure it out by now. Right? So what you're doing is called hate speech. It will be your demise. There are a lot of people on here, a lot of gay people who are still hurt from the bullshit we had to put up with all through history, honey. And now we are finally starting to catch up that people deserve respect. If you can't respect people, girl, you need to shut your goddamn mouth and move on to somewhere else where they won't actually hear that bullshit, right? Because you sound like a bunch of homosexuals if all you're talking about is dicks and ass. Hi, people. I'm sorry for not speaking. It kills me when these people who are just, I mean, they're just heathens. They ain't got nothing to do with no God, but nothing to do with no Bible, no religion, nothing. They go and they pick out two passages and they try to crucify people with just those two passages that you know. They ignore that they're over in the book of Leviticus, there's over 600 goddamn laws. Do you think these people adhere to 600 laws? They're not even giving up their pork and beans. They're not even giving up their ham sandwich. They ain't giving up shit. But they're going to tell you, hey, I don't agree with you. What do you mean you don't agree with me? Nigga, I'm here. Can't you see? Can't you hear? What is your level of intelligence? These people have finally figured out, why shouldn't they be married, really? Based on what? Think a person has to be heterosexual to be gay, to be a valid human being? Boy, let me tell you something, sissy. I spent my life with heterosexual men. Prisons all up and down the West Coast, right? I've heard the issues and so forth. There are so few people on there who adhere to these I don't know what you call them, rules of yours, or all this bullshit, girl, about marriage and all. You know what marriage was in the Bible? Read it again, punk. Read it again and find out what the fuck it is. Right? Are you adhering to that? How many baby daddies and baby mamas are walking around, child? How many of these motherfuckers have impregnated these women, girl, and you got one on this side of town, one on that side of town, and they just dropping nuts. And you know what they say when they get to prison? The girl, oh, I got 8 kids. I got 8. You're not nobody's father. You're a fucking sperm donor. All you did was provide a nut. You might as well spit it in the toilet, honey, because you ain't nobody's father. And then what do they do hang around? What condition are they in? You have so many goddamn issues in your communities, child. You live in Philadelphia? If you live in Philadelphia, you probably have a better chance of dying from a gunshot wound than cancer. There's a subject for you. You need to get off this homosexual shit and concentrate on your own community, child. Concentrate on we need to eliminate baby daddy. Because I believe that a person would benefit by having 2 loving parents. Whether a woman and a woman, a man and a man, male and female, which is the usual. I think a person does benefit by that. But the people who you are part of, your community, child, they don't adhere to that. They don't even hang around. Right? The Bible, the word said, what the Bible said. Okay. So when God decided to speak to the humans and leave them a message, according to the book that you call God, you call the book God. The book is not God. Even if you remove the book and all your perceived history of God, they're still God. It's the same creation, right? But you worship the book. Study up on idolatry, because that's what you are. When you are worshiping a book, you are an idolatrous. You're worshiping the created thing, not the creator, but the created thing, right? So you don't have a relationship with God. You're banking your experience on somebody else's experience 6,000 years ago. So whatever they said about God, that is what you've now made that God, right? The word said it. The word. What do you mean the word said it? Didn't the Catholic put that thing together? Didn't the Catholic gather books that were ancient books? Didn't they gather different people who live 100 years apart and put it together? Now, how in the hell did it become the word of God? You sound like an idiot, man. I'm just telling you the truth. That is an idiot's argument. It's always been. That's why people hate religion. You motherfuckers have driven them away, girl, with all your ridiculous, stupid ass rhetoric, child. And yes, the world is going to change, whether you like it or not. It's still going to change, girl. So you feel like that you're supposed to go on hating on homosexuals, right? Based on 3 lines in the Bible. You believe that, right? So what do you feel about the situation with Black people? I'm just curious. What do you feel about that? We ain't got to go back no 6,000 years. We just go back a few years. Let's go back 100 years, child. Should we stay in that condition? Okay. Should Black people be in the White House? Right? Should Black people be senators and mayors? You know how many Black women mayors there are in this country now? It's because they have advanced. They have advanced, right? What's the word? I don't went on one, people. I'm sorry. I ain't speak. Hi, babies. Hi, Prima Wanda, Tanya, Gemini, Mocha Drop, Aries. Don't take all this stuff personally. I'm just trying to address this man who insists on bringing this old, tired ass goddamn subject up. I don't know what he hopes to accomplish by it, but it is extremely offensive. And it is hate speech. So if you want to promote your hatred of homosexuality, honey, you better look inside of yourself. Look inside of yourself. Say, why is this still an issue? Was this an issue when I was 18? Was this an issue when I was 28? Was this an issue when I was 48, 58? You're 58 now, right? You're still struggling with the same thing about you have to let the world know that you don't agree with homosexual. I don't agree with it. You sound like an old woman, right? I had to bury my own grandmother. She still had to eat. Why was she having the other? That's what her mama said. That's what her granddaddy said. That's what all the preachers said. She was in the church for 70 years. That's what the preachers said. They used to get away with that. That would be the primary thing. When they were trying to have gay marriage every sermon. So they believe, or he said that, and that's what somebody said. And you ain't even stop and look and say, listen, are there homosexuals? Okay, so why am I trying to prove that they aren't? Why have I still got the same tired argument that they're choosing to be homosexuals? Why would I choose to be that? Frankly, baby, straight people, I think you got a better life. I mean, a more full life. But I can't tell God what he gonna do. He tells me what I am. I don't tell him what I am. Correct? If God want everybody to hear just pumping out babies like some of you do in some of your neighborhoods, if he just want, how many people would we be like China? Would we have to limit how many babies because you just pushing them out? Everybody pushing out babies? That doesn't make a father. Mm-hmm. Hey, Gabe. Gabe at house, Egyptian goddess. Mm-hmm. It's a difficult conversation for me because I love God. I know the power of God, of spirituality, right? I just know it personally for myself. These people, these gatekeepers, they have made it their mission not to bring people unto God, but to block them from getting in there because they got something special. Are we different? I ain't like you. He always said, I ain't like you. Are we different? We ain't shit. We're clay given life. Might as well be a turd. That's how he formed us. That's what we return to be. And they'll put us in the ground. We'll turn right back to dust. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You ain't shit. I ain't shit. We're only saved by the grace of God because he gave us a Christ. And he said, believe in it. Believe in this. Believe in, that's what I'm requiring of you. Believe in my Christ, right? And I will deliver you. Why? Because you believe. So you people offend me who try to keep people don't believe, right? And it's not only gay people, because a lot of people find your hatred and your evilness, they find that very offensive. I don't go be bothered them damn people. They're so hateful and nasty. If you want to find some of the most hateful people in the world, go to the church. Do I gotta tell my story again? Let me tell you my story again. When I was in drug program, I got delivered in prison, right? I came out of prison knowing I was delivered. It was just gone, right? The obsession was taken away, removed. I had an obsession that I dealt with for 17 years. I had gotten out of prison many times, right? And no matter what I thought the day before I got out, the day I got out, my asshole would start puckering, right? Because I craved that drug. I craved it, right? And then I gave my faith to Jesus. When I gave my faith to Jesus, everything changed. Everything changed. God, didn't Christ, the book out of the book you read, tell you to go out and make disciples, go out into the world and bring people unto me? But you don't believe it. You believe something you gonna say, you gonna do. Oh, I'm gonna say I don't believe in that. I'm gonna say save the children. Save them from what? Every time they show us a child molester in the goddamn news, it's always one of you motherfuckers. It's always one of you son of a bitches got a wife and kids at home. Save the kids. Whatever. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I was in drug program, right? God had delivered me, but God is also telling me you're going to do everything right this time. So I had a program pick me up at the prison, Vacaville State Prison, right? We were allowed to go to church. We were only allowed to go a couple of places and always with somebody, right? So I said, you know what? I need to find a church. Timothy Blaine, I can't believe it. You done lived all these years on the earth. You ain't never had no desire for no church. But now you know you need to find a church family, right? Now, I hadn't been inside of a church only for AA meetings here and there, right? I go to this church. The service was good. The preacher was it was a theater. It was converted from a theater, right? And the preacher would go around. He would tap people on the head, and they fall out. It was one of them kind of services, right? High praise, right? They would fall out, right? But because I said, what? You know what? I got to figure out what I believe. Is this real? Whatever it is, I don't know anything about the church life because I never respected it. When they started up and all this hatred stuff, I knew that was not the place for me. So I thought when I was a child, but now I'm not a child anymore, right? And I know I need God. I didn't believe I needed to go to 12 step. I didn't believe I needed a sponsor. I didn't believe anything was being told to me. I knew clearly I had reached out to God and he had delivered me. He became my obsession. So yes, there was time when I was spending hours and hours and hours in the Bible, right? Because in the prison, there's nothing much else you could do. We would be on lockdown for months at a time. And you could sit there and all you had was your Bible, right? But I needed a church. So I went up after the service was over. It was a great service. The man brought a good word, whatever. And they were trying to bring new people into the church. I'm sorry. I know some of y'all have already heard the story. So they had these ladies, their assignment was to sign up new members. They were in this theater. They didn't want to be in the theater. They needed members, as many as they could get. Now, praise God, they got their own church now. But so they were talking to the people who what do you call them? News, whatever. People who wanted to sign up for that church. And I told this woman, she came over to me. Now I don't know anything about church life. I said, lady, because they wanted to pray for us and stuff like that, hold your hands, pray for you, all that. I said, listen, I've been a homosexual for my entire life. I'm trying to reconcile faith with the fact that I'm a homosexual, right? I said, they go ahead. She removed her hands from me. She turned around and she walked away. I was a hungry soul. She turned around and she walked away. She formed a lot of my ideas about what religion is, right? So hateful, so nasty. But I was committed. I was determined. And I did find a church who did not tolerate me, didn't put up with me, loved and encouraged me. And they looked a whole lot like me. So I had to learn something there, right? You don't need other people. I don't need no grown folks TV to tell me shit. You don't want to accept reality. You don't want to accept it, even though the whole world is changing, baby. Your child, Buttigieg ran for president. Imagine that. It will happen in the future because people are going to realize that all people are created equal, honey. Did I go off on one? I'm sorry, people. Mm-hmm. But he seems to be over there just raising it. I haven't addressed him. I was so disgusted by the way he was treated on Wilson's page that I just never paid much attention. But I said, well, I'm not going to go over there and hear no homophobic bullshit. And I think it's what it comes down to. What can a homophobic do for me? Absolutely nothing. There's nothing you can say to me that makes any sense. So I'm trying to understand, why would you bring your ass over here to the beef sector, which is packed full of homosexuals? What are you still trying to figure out, dude? You're still trying to figure it out, right? That's why you want to get into some big discussion with Wilson over there, but he's so incompetent and stupid that he could not even have a conversation with you, right? Because you're still struggling with something. Still, right now, in your 50s. Little Richard, denying his homosexuality as they ready to put him in the ground. Struggled his whole goddamn life. That don't mean he didn't do it. That just means he struggled with it. Hey, people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's ignorant. He's stuck. He's ignorant. He dresses like an old man. He acts like an old pimp out of old movie or some kind of shit. And you're stuck with these stupid ass old ideas, girl. Nobody gives a fuck about your stupid ass idea. Nobody cares about your hate, nigga. That's your hate. Deal with it. You ain't got to explain your hate. You ain't got to try to recruit people to hate with you. Who in the fuck wants to go through the rest of their life hating? What's in it for me? Oh, you can change. You can change the word. The word ain't saying shit, child. The word brings up a subject, girl, written by some man. The word, ancient people. These are not people in the 1800s. These are not people in the 1700s. They're not in the 1600s. You got back to these old people because it's written down in the book. And you know what it is about the book? The thing about a book, and y'all done made it God, is the book doesn't change. So you're trying to work with the ideas of ancient people 6,000 years ago. Those are not modern people. Those people didn't have knowledge. Those people couldn't even read and write. So when anything was written down, that was the scripture, right? Why? Because somebody can actually write it down. Their experience. Your experience is not my experience. Let me see how y'all doing. I try to stay out of dude's business. I knew a lot of men in my time. When I was in my business, which nobody respects, baby, that was a rough business, right? I had to deal with all kind of people. As soon as I found that they are homophobic, they make homophobic comments, I'm done with it. Who wants to be bothered with you? You're miserable. I don't want anything to do with you. If you're telling me that you hate me, you don't accept me, I don't understand. You ain't got to understand me, nigga. Try to understand yourself. Why are you still obsessed with other men's assholes and what they do with them? That's nasty. And I haven't had sex in 15 years. I think I had one time 14 years ago. I haven't had sex, let's say, in 15 years. And I am not one bit less homosexual than I was when I was having sex 2 or 3 times a day. That is not an exaggeration. There was a time in my life when sex was everything, right? Right? And because I was a homosexual, I had homosexual sex. But when I stopped having sex, I'm still a homosexual. I'm still a homosexual. I'm still lacking that desire to touch titties. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't even occur to me. It is in my nature. So how come you can't learn that as an old man? Is that arrested development? Are you stuck, UZT, with the soul brother thing on your chest and all that? Are you stuck in the 60s? Is it arrested development where you have not been able to learn? You are stuck. It's just like when you got your first car. You're leaning to the side, diamond in the back, sun rooftop. You dig in the scene with the gangster link, gangster white walls, TV antenna in the back. You may not have a car at all. This is the kind of nigga you are. You're stuck. You don't want to say you're dumb. You're stuck. You got to start thinking out of the box. And I believe that it's important to think out the book. You got to let that go and start recognizing what is here. We are here, honey. So don't bring your ass over here with that bullshit. Nobody cares about your hatred, honey. You think I don't have hatred for something in my heart? I'm not going to even expose that to you. It's not your business. It's something I have to work out. I don't have no desire to walk around in life, keep denying something is here. Oh, I don't know. I don't like the black people. Oh, the blacks are dumb. The blacks are stupid. And then they're still here. A racist. What a how could he be in the White House? How could he black? He black. That is their mentality. They've been stuck for their life. Their whole life they spent hating. And the world moves anyway without you. Without you. I can just see you with your big hat tilted to the side. Mm-hmm. It was hard times. These people are always in search of new content, right? They figure, okay, I'll go over there and I'll rile those homosexuals. You can't rile us if we don't watch. The moment you start with that bullshit, I can't even watch it, girl. I was going to make this video. I can only watch. I don't think I made it through 2 minutes. That shit doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve me anything, honey. It is the conversation I'm supposed to have with old preachers, girl. Old preachers born in the 40s. But for an old soul, you can't learn. The reason you can't learn is because you're ignorant. You're stupid. If you're a stupid person, you don't have the ability to learn. If you're simply ignorant, that means you can, if you put some time in, you can start paying attention to people, and you can say, you know what? That Tim Blank, he ain't bad. I like him. He's fine. This is the relationship I had in the streets, and this is the relationship I have with all them niggas in prison, right? He's a decent dude, right? So people, you will find that everybody is not evil, everybody's not dumb, everybody's not hateful, right? Your issue is your hatred, right? But I could function in the streets. I could do beautiful business, and I had plenty of friends, and it all came down just to basic kind of respect. To respect for people. If you have no respect, you got nothing for me. Nothing. You can't talk to a person. You can't reason with a person like that. Oh, I don't believe in the lifestyle. Oh, I just girl, join Anita Bryant in whatever ditch she's living in, girl. And you go over there and just be hateful for the rest of your life, if that's what you want. I don't know what your attraction is to the one of the most homosexual field sectors on this goddamn thing, girl. Why are you dragging your pitiful ass over here? What is there to gain? These women are not hateful women. They wouldn't be over here if they were. If they hated homosexuals, they wouldn't be over here getting along with them, girl. And it is the majority of the world has moved on. He said the definition of a black man is responsibility and taking care of his family. Well, based on his stats, there are no black men. What or who they take care of collectively? They don't take care of shit. Baby, when I was in the projects, one of the key things about the projects was there could not be a man in the house, right? So all the people who lived in the girl, they talk about how to make fun of people who live in the project, right? It's because people have not stand up to their responsibilities, girl. And then these women had to fend for themselves and be by themselves. And they get a job. Where you, girl? My mama worked. I don't think she ever missed a day of work. She worked and worked and worked and didn't make no damn difference, girl. It didn't make no damn difference. You still needed a nuclear family. We were neglected that, right? We didn't have that. In slavery, we didn't even have no marriage, right? And people have not caught up, right? No, they didn't have no marriage, right? They just produced babies to produce more property. You made them like dogs. And we never caught up, trying to assimilate, trying to be Americans. It's awful. It's terrible. And yes, there is an inordinate amount of black people locked up in prison. People want to judge. They don't want to try to figure it out. Whole lot of men struggling with drugs, just trying to cope. Whole lot of people struggling with violence against women. Nobody ever talks about it. It is the truth. I'm a living witness. It is rampant. Black men under stress. The stress being a black man. You have so many issues to deal with, niggas. Stop talking about people's assholes and their balls and dicks. And stay out them goddamn tights. Keep your legs down. Why is it that every time you talk to a straight man, he accuses you of being a fag? Is that where your hatred comes from? I'm talking about that boy they call ZX, Grown Folks TV. I tried to be respectful of this dude. Obviously, that's not what he desires. These people are so desperate for content that they believe that anything is good content. Just go over there and rile the homosexuals, right? No, it's not like that. What we're saying to you is, no, we don't want to play with you. We're taking our rocks and going somewhere else. We're asking you to do the same. Just go away. Your hatred is not even worth discussing. It is something internal that you need to work out. Or you'll just be, I'm an angry black man. And everybody's like, oh, really? Oh, really? You go angry? Oh, really? Who gives a fuck if you angry? The fuck are you, why are you even worried about, girl? If you are still struggling with your sexuality because either you got poked in high school or grade school or wherever the hell it happened at, girl, understand something. You are a child. You are innocent. You are just discovering yourself. Stop holding on to that like you got to prove now that you are heterosexual. Nobody cares. You're an old man. Nobody gives a shit. Even though you still want to put the clothes on and be fly and lean to the side and all, girl, you're an old man. It's almost over. I'm older than you. Listen, it's almost over. Get your ass right, honey. And don't be bringing your ass over here with this bullshit. We have other things to talk about. Women and gay men make up the beef sector. That's what's over here. So what kind of straight man is dragging his ass over here for? Especially one that's supposed to be so hateful and you don't agree with it. You don't agree with it. Yet you got your nose all up in it. Does that make sense to you? You want to come over here and talk rough talk to homosexual? I got to tell you, when that dude, Rick Reed went off on your ass, girl, it was art. It was art, right? He backed the man in him, confronted the man in you, and you fell short, right? You're not a tough person. You're just playing one on TV. You're not hard. I know what hard is, honey. You ain't hard. We don't know what. So you're saying that basically you have been a virgin. You only with one woman your whole life. Oh, that's how I had my baby. We only had sex one time, right? Because if you listen to this Bible that you're calling God, if you listen to this Bible, you're only supposed to have sex when you're married, right? And you ain't supposed to get no pleasure out of it. It's supposed to hurt and feel bad. When you get through fucking, you start hitting yourself in the goddamn head because you're so goddamn guilty, nigga, because you're only supposed to have sex to have babies. So what the hell is an old man gonna have with an old woman? How you gonna make a baby? You can't make no goddamn baby. So if you listen to the book that you read and say, call it God, nigga, you are already in violation, motherfucker. You ain't just as much of in violation as I am, girl, and all the rest of us. Saved by grace. Is it true or not? Twerking his back. That's a woman. I don't think Hampton got anything to do with this conversation. He is anti-gay. He has a lot of internal hate. I would say, people, get yourself together, honey. The time is running out. Time, you better find some peace. Ain't nobody say you got to come over here clicking with the homosexuals, but people got to say, well, listen, if it's here, God must allow it. Because if you were so mad about it, when he took it out, we had a disease that tried to act like it's trying to eliminate us, but it failed. But you niggas don't give the credit. You don't give the credit for cures to God. You only give the credit to every evil thing that happens in the world. That's God. That's God's judgment because you're reading an ancient book, right? So every time we have a hurricane or a storm, that's God's judgment. That's God's judgment. Look, God mad. But then when people come forward and they solve the issue and they solve the problem, they restore their cities. That ain't God. God brings AIDS, but when AIDS is gone, that ain't got nothing to do with God. We sitting up here praying for this damn COVID thing, right? This COVID thing has dominated the whole goddamn planet for 2 years, right? So when it leaves, what is that? Was this the judgment of God, or is it only the judgment of God when homosexuals have sex? Is that it? It's a disease, much more severe than AIDS ever dreamed of being, honey. But people like you, that's why your channel would not grow. Your hatred, ain't no numbers in that bullshit. You might go over there and join Donald Trump, girl. I'm a conservative. You ain't conservative shit. You ain't nothing but a nigga just like me. You're the same thing, girl. You ain't nothing special about you, nothing at all. I'm not like you. He always said, I'm not like you. I'm different. How you different? Does blood run through your goddamn veins? You're the same thing. You ain't shit. Ain't none of us shit. Saved by grace in the eyes of God. Now I believe that part. There are certain parts that are just going to get it when you get into that Bible. There are certain things that are just going to grab you, right? Although you are listening to people writing, just ancient people writing, right? There's certain truth in there that will grab you and get you through. The story of the Christ is the most powerful thing in there, but it's just a little bitty piece of, the Gospels. What is that? Is it 20 pages, 30 pages, something like that? It's a small piece, right? It is like, that's the part that's life changing, because if you can believe it, God can work on your life, right? I just don't have the words to express what that is. We got people living on the street. We got people living in these encampments all over San Francisco and the Bay Area, child. They got people all up under the bridge and built huts and all this kind of stuff, right? If you can help these people, the only way you're going to help them is by introducing them to the story of the Christ. If you know in your heart that the story of the Christ can change their whole goddamn life, girl, why are you holding it to yourself and determining who ain't of God? We're all the same thing, honey. Whether you stick it in a pussy or asshole, you're still the same goddamn thing. It's all pumping, bitch. It's all the same goddamn thing. Whatever you decide to pump it in, it don't make no difference, right? Because it's all a part of nature. It's even a part of nature in animals, girl. There are animals who are bisexual by their nature. It is not because they decided to be bisexual. There are certain animals in nature. It is their nature to be bisexual. It just is. Dumbass conversation. Should have been over years ago. I'm an angry black man. Look at me, soul power. He got the soul power wrapped around his neck. Look at this. Look at this. I'm black. Girl, you ain't got to prove to nobody that you're black. That's not an idea. That's not a political statement. You are black, nigga. All through you. Whether you wear a dashiki, or whether you wear the Brooks Brothers clothes, or whether you married to a white woman, or you done marry a Chinese woman, you are still black. You are you. You ain't got to prove it to nobody. Soul power and all that old stuff, child. That was a fight. That was specific. That was the civil rights movement, honey. Are you stuck in the 60s? Because you have the appearance of somebody stuck in the 60s, child, and you think you still really being cool, right? And them women over there are pumping you up because I guess something you're saying they like. I don't know what the hell it is, girl. I don't know what it is, but you're not a good fit for over here. So I wish you just go away, take your hatred and go and use it with somebody who wants to hear it, girl. I'm sure there must be other homophobes on here. Y'all can go over here and talk about dicks and balls and assholes all day, honey, and it will do something on the inside of you, right? But you will do much better if you just simply get a therapist, child. So help me figure this shit out. Why is it so interesting to me? Who recently doxed a minor black child? Leaky, what are you talking about? Are you talking to somebody else? Yeah, he threw his leg up. I said, well, goddamn. Now, I don't care how you spin that or what you're saying, but you had those colorful tights on like a woman. And why would you even think to spread your leg up like a woman? Oh, I was just showing her. You just showing her what, honey? You're supposed to be a masculine man. Why are you walking around the house, girl, in these women's tights and throwing your legs up, girl? Listen, as a young person, 19, 20 years old, I spent a little time in the whole game, right? I encountered people like this all the time, girl. They would come up here and pick up the boys, child, and leave the boys and go back to their wife, right? You can see the goddamn ring on there was no gay marriage then. You can see the tan line around their finger where they took their wedding ring off, child. Right? Closet queens is what they call them. Are you that ZX? You need to get up off these balls and dicks. And I think when you go around straight men, whether they're homophobes or not, they don't want to sit around talking about people getting pumped and dicks and hustling and all this shit that you talk about, girl. I don't think they would find that very interesting. They probably want to talk more about women and children and all the stuff that involves your world. We as homosexuals, we don't have any effect, hardly any effect at all on the straight world, honey. Love what you are. It's beautiful. You can find somebody and marry them and raise your kids, and it can be gorgeous. It can be wonderful, right? But it ain't wonderful when you're trying to now bang other people over the head because they're not you. Why we got to be you for you to respect us, right? I thought we would stop having these kind of arguments or these kind of discussions, but I see you're trying to bring it back, right? You their mama, you their daddy, you that nigga in the alley, you their doctor when you need. You want some coke and got some weed. You they push your man. ZX, it's time to update your look, honey, and accept yourself. I am an old, you say you, what do you say it was, 54? You look 64, and your mind is stuck as a 64-year-old man, 74-year-old man. Let this bullshit go. I'm just saying that. I don't want you to be over here, period. But if you got to go somewhere else, let this bullshit go. Don't no real man want to sit up and talk about assholes. Every conversation you have with straight men, it always seems to end up the same way. On your about your shithole. Let it go. Mm-hmm. All right, people. Gabe, why are you so obsessed with Walter Lee? Walter Lee had got his issue. His issues were at Atlanta, Georgia. He gets obsessed with diseases because he's a scared man, and he gets obsessed with homosexuality in the gay community, and he's taught all his life to appear to be masculine. But if y'all seen Walter Lee walk, I said enough. My beef with him was years ago. I don't know. I don't even know what Walter does. He likes to rant. He can be entertaining, and he's still here. Light bulbs. I love my Walter. He gets an audience. It's strange because he basically talks a lot about a gay life, but and we all know there's not what goes on here most of them. And the gays don't seem to like him because he's always criticizing their degree of femininity and all this kind of stuff. But he has his audience. We got to respect it. He ain't bothered me, so I ain't bothering him. The trick is just to stay away from these people. That's why I say that what I got to say to a homophobe, nothing. There was a scene in that movie, Malcolm X. Y'all remember that? With Denzel Washington? And they were having a protest. And there was a young white girl. She was sincere. She was a college student, right? And in this protest, the little girl, she wasn't little, she was a college student, came up to Malcolm X and she said, "What can we do to help you?" And he looked at her, all sincerity, nothing. I remember that scene more than anything else in the movie. Nothing. You want to be a homophobe, girl? You ain't a goddamn thing you're going to accomplish over here. Ain't nobody changing shit. If they were going to change, they should have figured it out by now. All your little schools where you try to change people and all your damn brain scans and all that shit, none of it is all for naught because you won't accept God's creation, right? If you had to accept God's creation without the book, you would have figured it out by now, right? But it's that book keeps you locked up because the book don't change, girl. If they wrote it today, would the Bible say the things it says? If they wrote it today, because he's God, right? He can assign people to write it anytime, right? If they wrote it today, would they say the same thing they said 6,000 years ago? If they wrote the Bible today, would they say the same things they said 500 years ago? If they wrote the Bible today, would they say the same things in the Bible today as they said 1,000 years ago? You going back 6,000. You would have bypassed the goddamn New Testament. And then when you say that Paul said it in the New Testament, it's in the book, it's in the book, it's in the book. Paul wrote a letter. The fuck you mean it's in the book? It ain't in the book. Paul wrote a letter. And these people found the letter. And they said, we were going to canonize that. How in the hell did Paul get to be the dominant force in the whole New Testament? They took his writings, honey. They just like if you left them in the desk, they just found it over there. Paul wrote this. Paul wrote this. What the hell do they got to do with what God said? God said. God ain't said shit. It's from Paul. It said, this is me. I am Paul. You got to be able to think. And that's why you run people away from religion, away from God. I don't give a damn about your religion, honey. I'm thinking more about God. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with communities getting together and trying to raise families, particularly when we have so many families where their father is not president. The preacher becomes the father, right? Where they go in and get this moral instruction kind of thing, right? And they'll get together and they'll have their little communities, right? That is your community. It makes no sense that you got to go outside of your community now and try to terrorize everybody else who's not in your community. Just have your community. Try to accomplish something positive, right? Try to figure out what's going to keep Bubba out of jail next time, right? Because it all comes down to God. Even the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, what are they the 12 steps to? A better understanding of your relationship with God. That's it. They don't want to say nothing about Christianity or the Bible or religion. They don't want to say that because they know what people's relationship with that book is, right? So they don't say that, no. But all of those principles, when I was in prison, every single step was taken from the Bible. These were spiritual principles that have lasted thousands of years. And they took those spiritual principles from the Bible. I found them. I redlined them. I still have the Bibles here. If you don't believe me, if I want to take time to go and you got to go over that again with you. It all comes down to your relationship with God. Stop trying to run people away from God. We don't need no gatekeeper. We don't need another hero. We don't need another hero. We don't need to find our way home. All right, people. I said what I had to say. I hope I ain't offended you, but say what you got to say, baby. Stand true, and you will find that you are able to grow. The things that you felt 5 years ago, you might not feel that way anymore. I think in the beef sector, we do a pretty good job of relations between gay males and women. There are certain things that we have in common that makes it work. Don't let some interloper come in here and destroy it. Y'all have a good night or good afternoon. Later.